Hello all and welcome back to High Ridge Farm with me, the Walrus. We're back wandering through the wonderful joys of the summer season. We've had a reasonable few days. We haven't had anything particularly unusual occur, as I'm kind of expecting, because I know that there are some more things to come within the summer series. And I'm really curious to see what actually is going to occur. Now, the only thing I've heard from rumours and friends who are very good at trying to tell me things is that there's an abundance of moss during the summer. Now, I've not really noticed much of it growing on the trees that I've got lying around, so I'm wondering how that's a thing during the summer. All the same, I do kind of want a bit more moss generally because I've got lots of things that kind of need it, and well, I might not actually have quite as much as that needs it as I might really believe. I still haven't tried to do the moss soup recipe, which does sound absolutely disgusting in every way. Like, why the hell would you want to eat a soup made of moss? Oh god, that's horrible. Now, I'm sort of like thinking about that a little bit at the moment because I'm feeling quite lucky that I will be getting my copy of the Stardew Valley cookbook quite soon, due to the fact that somebody has very kindly bought it for me. Now that concerns me only in the sense that I really hope that moss soup isn't in there, because that is something I just don't think I could make an even attempt to eat. That might kill me. Because yeah, go outside your house, go and grab some moss. Well, I've got moss growing on my roof, and I'm not really feeling climbing up to the second story to get up onto the roof to then harvest some moss. Anyway, rambling aside, we've got another task to try to achieve today. Now, the reason I'm trying to do all of these is I'm very curious to see what comes at the end of the ticket dispenser. I mean, it's at the end, but what other things can be end up as prizes, really, as part of the tickets. So hopefully we can get something maybe useful and interesting, maybe. That's kind of what I'm looking for, is something useful to me. Now, that iridium tea seems to be particularly potent, and I would quite like to see a little... This is from this person. This is their response to iridium tea. So we can see how well that goes, essentially going forwards. But whilst we're zooming around today, we've got a few other things I'd like to do, which of course is just going to be general farm administration today. But we also need to do that biome rebalance. I don't think that should be super difficult to do. We just need to catch some fish. Now, one of the things I'd like to try is actually using some of the challenge bait. I think that would be an interesting thing, because I've not actually used it yet, and I'm genuinely curious as to how it works, just generally. Because it kind of strikes me as one of those like unusual, odd things that might work in a different way. So hey, we'll give it a go. But for now, we're just going to quickly throw out a line out and see what we can catch. And one of the other things that I'd also like to do is, again, sort of experiment with a little bit of the different available lures. Now, I do know that obviously with the ability of all of the different baits that we've got, such as even now having magnets as a bait rather than as just a thing, it's kind of interesting because they do give you that extra sort of like that opportunity, I think is probably the best way of describing it, of catching more treasure, which is really cool, and I'm never going to be upset about catching lots of treasure. I mean, I think I'd be insane if I was upset about that. Because, yeah, more loot. But, goodness gracious, it's taking a sweet time, isn't it? Oh, wow, I got some algae. Right, okay, well, let's go back to the house. Let's go and make some stuff. So, we're going to quickly check and see if I've got anything that I can organise in here. Put the summer squash away. That's fine. That'll be lovely. I mean, maybe there's something vaguely useful come of this. I don't know. Ugh, goodness. Okay, well, I mean, the rainbow shell's kind of a nice little thing, and it'd be kind of cute to see what it looks like in the fish tank. Yeah, along with the other things that I've got in the fish tank. Let's put the pike in there, maybe. Yeah, there we go. I know it's not like a particularly optimal fish tank, but it looks nice. And I think that might be something I should really look at doing, is what might work nicely and just look cool. I do like the fact that you can put like other things in the fish tanks to kind of act as a decoration. And I have very much thoroughly enjoyed the fact that you can give urchins a hat, which is very cute in my opinion. Okay, so challenge bear. I need bone fragments and moss. Okay, interesting. Well, I know I've got bone fragments, and I've definitely got a reasonable amount of moss, so that shouldn't be super bad. Okay, the curiosity lure just gives the improved, like, you know, quality of the fish, which is fine and all. That's easy enough. We won't have to worry so much about that one. Now, okay, so I got no lures or anything lying around in there. I was kind of hoping I did. I mean, I'm not expecting to have had any, but it would have been nice if I'd had a few lying around. Maybe I've just been selling them through, which kind of makes sense for some of it, because some of them aren't really that helpful at the best of times. Okay, so we want some challenge bait. I could also make some more deluxe bait. Actually, I do have the worm bin for deluxe bait. I should probably stop just selling it, because actually it might be quite useful. Dear. You know, the blessings of hindsight when you go, I am an idiot. And the treasure tackle's not so useful right now. I don't really care for that. Barbed hook. I think the barbed hook's going to be the big thing, because it increases the size of the catch bar and just makes it easier to catch things, and we'll see. Because that sticks to the fish. And I have a sneaking suspicion that might work out quite well with the challenge bait. We'll see, though, because it might interact in an odd way that doesn't quite gel in the way I was hoping. But let's just grab these diamonds while we're here anyway, because we've got them, we need to grab them, and make a bit of money out of them, potentially. They could be used as gifts, I don't know. I think that's the big curse that I have at the moment, is that I can just kind of do, because it doesn't matter so much about all the stuff that I've got going on. I'm like, I have things, I have stuff, it doesn't matter so much. And my reputation with everybody, I mean, reputation, I don't think it's the bonds that I have with all of the villagers is perfectly acceptable and fine as it is, so not super concerned. Okay, so that's interesting. Every time that a fish, like the challenge bar, goes off of the fish, you lose a pip on its catching, which is intriguing. So I have to just be a little bit more careful. And what I'm finding, annoyingly, is the barbed hook is actually making it quite hard to control. So I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to put the curiosity lure back on, because I'm not enjoying the way it works. So that's... It might just be that the way that I like to do it, and it feels odd, really, about it. It's not like it's wrong, per se. It's just it doesn't gel with the way that my brain works, and how I feel that it should act. Which I know is a bit of a strange one, but that's just seeming to be how it's going at the moment. It's a bit of a weird one. So yeah. But let's try catching another one. I think I'm catching lots of pike again. So I've got 3 again. And, oh man, and a golden chest, of course. There we go, so 3 pike. Okay, so that feels reasonably easy in the grand scheme of things. I feel quite confident in the way of actually getting what I want and need out of that. But of course we'll see, because it could end really badly. Who knows? Okay, oh, let's try and catch that. Let's see what we can get. Anything good? Just some fish again. Well, at least it was a bit quicker. Now, I will also admit, the auto catch thing that I've got as the enchantment to my rod is so helpful because it just automatically hooks them and then it just starts the minigame. Now, I know that's a minor thing, but it does help me out quite a lot because it means that I'm less likely to have a brain fart and just miss it. This isn't a lake. I mean, technically speaking, it is a lake, but it's not the lake. It's the mountain lake that I'm supposed to be fishing in. Oh my goodness gracious, I am an absolute walrus. The amount of times I do things and just go, duh. I've herped and derped and blown the house down, I think is the the best way of describing it. I mean, I do make a lot of dumb mistakes. It's just the way of the world. And that's just the way it is. So that's a very odd Genesis lyric there. Okay, so grapes are useful because I also am very keen on using grapes as part of my improving the Junimos. Because as far as I'm aware, if you give a Junimo house raisins, they increase their work rate and have a chance of giving you double. I could be wrong, and I could also be chatting mad nonsense, but that seems to be what's indicated by all of the the text and backgrounds that I've read of all like the little secret notes and things, and it kind of gives me that as a vague idea. If that is the case, that's phenomenally useful. I mean, especially with things like ancient fruit, which unfortunately I'm not really growing any of in this vicinity because, well, not really my thing here. Doesn't quite work out for what I need, but still pretty handy. But yeah, double ancient fruit. But it's all about star fruit for me. And that was actually something I did see on the subreddit. It was somebody actually asking that exact question, and it's like, the advantage the ancient fruit really gives you is the fact that you don't have to reseed. And especially on places like Ginger Island, if you've got a set of ancient fruit, you don't have to do anything. It's just there. It's just going to make you a constant resource, which is great. Like I have with the pineapples, and I think maybe replacing a couple of pineapples with them. Oh yeah, all the carp, just what I want. I mean, I know it's silly, but carp are very dull, aren't they? As a reward, I say reward. As fish go, carp are very dull. And they give you a very boring reward. But, as in, like, what can you do with them? Put 4 of them together and make carp surprise. Yay. I know, it's bleh. Now, the thing I had to double check with the biome balance was I wanted to double check and see if actually the triple catching, which I am doing, actually gave me a benefit. Because sometimes I have noticed that oddities can occur, but it does appear to be, it works. And that's kind of what I'm after, is actually, you know, it works. Which is great and all. So yeah, I'd much rather that. But yeah, we're nearly at the end of the biome balance catching, and that's kind of good. We want to make sure that we have that sorted, because again, although I'm gaining reputation, I think reputation again, it's almost like I'm playing far too many of these damn MMOs. But no, it's not the benefit to Demetrius's relationship that I'm gathering here from it. It's really the benefit I'm giving myself of those tickets, and I just don't know what other stuff is going to be available from them. I mean, they could give some fantastic ones. I know there's a bed, because I've got that. I know I've got the Iridium Tea. I do wonder if some of the other books that are available in the game now, that I haven't read yet, are available through the prize dispensing machine thing that good old Mayor Lewis, the interesting old guy that he is, and his truffle oil obsession with Marnie, has done. But for now, we'll just slug away. We've got a few more things to kind of dispense and put away, and that just, doesn't matter so much. Okay. I do have a lot of slime, don't I? It's looking through things like that going, I have way too much of this resource. Do I really need it? And yeah, okay, it's kind of a given that I'm going to have lots of odd amounts of resources, but still, I'm like, oh, do I really need that? Is it really that handy? So I do feel a little bit silly in some ways because, yeah, I've got loads of odd stuff lying around. But hey-ho, it's just how it goes. Now, I'm probably going to get rid of that barbed hook at some point because I don't need it, and it's not doing me any favours. I think it's probably the nicest way of putting it. It was one of those, like, it might work out, but it doesn't appear to be the case, sadly. But what other things can we kind of organise whilst we're roaming through? Sap, that's fine. I mean, not really helpful right now, but I'm just going to quickly make sure that the other crops are watered whilst we're here. Okay, mangoes, that's good. That'll be added to the resource piles and taken away. I mean, I'm going to be using it later on, of course, because it's going to end up being the preserve and pickling shed, which, I mean, kind of makes perfect sense to me, right? That's where it should live. Okay. What if this is another skeletal tail? Yeah, of course it's a snake vertebrae. I mean, the amount of time I had to waste trying to get one of those damn things, and how long it took me, purely because I'm an idiot and I planted a bunch of crops on the damn farm. Ugh. I'm not salty. No. Not at all. No. I'm not still annoyed about it, but it was very frustrating that it kind of held me back for as long as it did, and I'm glad that I don't have to worry about it now, but let's see what I can catch here. I think it's probably going to be, what, it can't be the blue discus, it could be lionfish. It is. That's cool. So it's nice that the challenge bait works, and, you know, I actually understand how it works now, which is actually really good, I think. It's an interesting sort of mechanic that gives you that you have to be good at it. But I guess it might work really interestingly, particularly if you're a particularly talented fisher and you manage to catch 3 of the legendary fish. Because that could be a thing. I do wonder. I mean, I also know, from having played through previously, although I didn't do much in the way on stuff on Ginger Island, when I played through previously, like on older playthroughs, I do remember one unusual thing. And that was the fact that when you find, if you get catch the second generations of these fish, like the Mrs. Angler and the Son of Crimson Fish, you know, those ones, you do get an interesting bonus, almost. I think that's probably the best way of putting it, in that if you don't catch all 4 of them, or all of the special unique fish too, Electric Boogaloo, you actually end up with the opportunity to catch them multiple times. So you can have 3 Son of Crimson Fishes, which is very cool, I think. But, you know, that's a separate sort of unusual that I have seen in the past. But anyway, oddity aside, let's keep on going for the next day. So we've got a few other things that we can sort out and do. And one of those things that we need to organise is just making sure that we have everything ready for the next couple of days. Now, one of the things that I'm also looking at is what else can I actually do on the farm that's going to be of, you know, good use. Now, I haven't really tried using the bait machine, and I'm kind of curious as to how it works. I mean, I know that you use a fish to make the bait for it, but how much bait do you get? And to be fair, I've got so many of those carp, it wouldn't be a bad one to sort of experiment with. Maybe that'll be a curious choice, shall we say. I wonder if it'll work out that way. I mean, or particularly not way, but more work out well. I think it's probably the best way of describing it, because maybe it'll work as a really good benefit that you use a fish to get more fish. But you can also see, can you see on the Juniper hut on the right there, where it's got that little symbol of the raisin? So that means that it's being used. So I was right in my assumption that it would give a benefit and that it would, you know, work, but that's very cool. Okay, so we've got squid ink, that's fine. Don't care so much. I mean, the squid ink's useful, but it's not that massive of a thing for me at the moment. And the summer squash, again, it's a new crop, and that's why I've got a few of them, and I'm going to continue growing them, and I'm going to grow a lot of the new crops regardless, now that I've, you know, got access to all of them by handing in the stuff with the raccoons. And that might be something that I should do, actually, is kind of look and see what I can do with the raccoons. I mean, hopefully something good. I don't know, though, because, I mean, I'm assuming they give you a lot of benefits in some ways when their family is fully grown, so that's a thing. So we'll see. Hopefully it's a really cool little benefit. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be, because, you know, it's cute. I mean, why wouldn't you want to support the wonderful animals that they are and give them a lovely environment to live in and do lots of wonderful stuff for them? Because they're cute. I guess that's a thing, though. Raccoons are sweet, but having read the horror stories of what happened with many Japanese families who adopted raccoons, I say adopted, got them as pets, and they're not the most pet-like of animals. But also seeing the adorable reaction of the raccoon that was given candy floss. Like, I know we've seen that. I've seen that video a few times with the candy floss. He tries washing the candy floss and it loses all the candy floss, because of course it does. Because it's candy floss, they just go away. But one of the cute things I saw was that actually it's learned that one should not wash candy floss and just ate it, which was very sweet. I know that's a very silly, rambly comment there, but it was one of those very like, ah. I'm glad that the raccoon got the treats, because, yeah, why would I not be? It's cute and adorable, and yes. Right, well, let's sell a few of these things that we don't need. So there's nothing going on in here right now. Into the preserve jar room. That's where we're going next. Well, we've got some more things that we can preserve. So we've got some caviar. That's nice. And we've also got some other roe. And I think that's maybe something that I should do as well, is change the different things. Like, I know that I've mentioned it previously that I might reevaluate what I've got growing in these. Sorry, what I have in the fish ponds, because really right now I don't need all of the different ones that I have, and I'm using the lava eels because they are the most valuable. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. That's why they're there. They're there to give me the most money. But maybe, just maybe, it might be more beneficial if I put something else into the other ponds. Like the super cucumbers, they were there to give me some iridium, but again, iridium isn't an issue now, so I'm not as concerned about them, per se. So, yeah, not too worried. But that's just how that goes. We will keep trying and seeing. But I do kind of think that the sturgeon, I've only got them in there purely to get caviar. So maybe I'll fish out the sturgeon and maybe even demolish that pond, because truthfully, I might have too many. They do take up a lot of space. I think that's kind of a given, though, isn't it? That they're going to take up a lot of space, and my farm's a bit of a slapdash weird presentation. as we know. I've got an odd layout of things that seems to work in my head, but maybe not. But hey. Oh, poor Leo. It's a shame that, you know, the kids were like maybe a bit mean, but actually it's quite sweet that he is friends with the other kids now and isn't, you know, as concerned. I mean, to be fair, I mean it's kind of interesting that he is aware that obviously because he knows he could well, he knew he could talk beforehand, but the fact that he was just a little bit concerned about his knowledge, like in the way that he's been socialized in a different way by living with the birds. So I mean, that's the fact that he's aware of it, I guess, because he wasn't entirely raised by wild animals. But you know, the fact that he picked up another language, which is that of the birds, is kind of interesting. I mean, I'm trying to think of like when many moons ago I did as part of my degree, I did a chunk of psychology, and I am aware of there are like the feral children who have been found surrounded by animals, and that the animals themselves have essentially raised them in a sense. And like there was one child who essentially was like with a pack of wild dogs, I believe. But the problem I've then got is going, well, how much actual communication can they do? Because I mean, that's a thing, isn't it? And they're probably not going to be able to act as a pure language barrier bridge, are they? I don't know. I don't know. But then again, birds are quite intelligent creatures, and I think that's the thing as we really look at. There's a lot of animals out there that are a lot more intelligent than we really give them credit for. That being said, my guinea pigs are a pair of very, very silly animals, and I'm not sure that they have a full brain cell between the two of them sometimes. Same as most like ginger cats, which is the current extra thing that I have discovered more recently, that they tend to be a little bit on the derpy side, which is adorable. But okay, so I was correct. There are books available in here, so that's interesting. Now, if I can get myself that book, so that's going to involve doing another, well, quest. Assignment thing. So that's going to be what? It'll refresh Monday, I think? I mean, I'm going to check again later on this week, but I believe that it is the length of time is it usually elapses every Monday to add one once you've completed it. So I'm going to try and see. I mean, one can hope that we get something interesting out of it. And hopefully we get a decent, different assignment. I say different. I've done them all. I've done all the ones for everybody, so hopefully it's an easy one. I mean, the biome balance ones are very, very easy, I find. They're not in any way, shape or form complex. It's just making sure that you remember not to be an idiot and fish in the wrong location, like I did, because I am an idiot. And I will freely admit that fact, at least, because, you know I'm a moron, and I know full well I'm going to constantly do really dumb things. Like, let's go visit Clint. I'm not saying that that's a dumb thing, but I am going to go and visit Clint, because I want him to smash open those presents for me. I'm also debating trying to gather a bunch more copper, because I know I could buy it off of Clint, and it's very much the I'm loath to do so, even though I have the money to do it. And I don't know why I'm so loath to do it. I really need to be a little bit more willing to spend the money, especially since I have 10 million. It's not like I'm going to run out of money anytime soon. I've got silly values of funds. I'm not struggling. It's fine. I don't have to worry. But it's still a thing. I'm still going to consider it. Oh, okay, Penny. I didn't realise there was going to be a cutscene. Cool. Cute. Fizz me a cooking recipe. Okay. Now, I can't remember if Penny's supposed to be a good or a bad cook now. So let's see. canonically, Penny is... Oh, we'll find out. It looks like a vegetable medley. That looks okay. No, canonically, she's a terrible cook. Cool. I managed to smash the A button a little bit too quickly there. Yeah, I did want to read the other options, but I think lying to her is probably the best there. Wow, that's an odd statement to say. Yeah, lying to someone, that's the best way of dealing with it. I mean, a little white lie. But yeah, we've got to go and watch a movie afterwards after feeling very sick from whatever she gave us. I mean, that might also be because we did eat the plate as well. I mean, we are an interesting character, I think is the nicest way of putting the farmer. But, you know, I only went to visit quickly because I wanted to hand over the stuff she asked for. Which I think is quite reasonable. Because she asked for it, and we will provide. That's how this goes. Okay, let's keep trying. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the statue of the Dwarf King because I genuinely think it is more prudent for me to put it in the mines if I am able to, because it might be something that's categorically you must place within the farm, but I'm not sure. If it isn't, and it is something that I can place in the mines, that would be great, because then I'll remember to use it. I mean, currently I've got an immunity to bombs. I mean, that's phenomenal. I'm not going to take damage from bombs. Great. Very happy days. Always be excited for that. Okay, so I can place it here by the looks of things. That's good. Well, let's put it near the elevator. Now, whilst we're here, we're just going to blow our way through as many floors as possible. Bang. There we go. Now, the reason I've got so many bombs was I did exchange a bunch for them. And I bought loads of them from the dwarf. The trouble was because I had them over so many different chests, I didn't actually realise how many I had. I mean, I bought 600 of the damn things. So, yeah, it wasn't the greatest of choices, but I've got them. I mean, I'm going to use them eventually. Maybe it'll be kind of more useful when it comes to doing more in the Skull Caves. I mean, it's the best way I feel to get through stuff. When you don't have to worry about anything else. You just blow holes and stuff. And that's generally a good plan of action, I feel. I mean, again, I could be very wrong, but I think that's quite a reasonable way of doing things. And, of course, right now, where I can't be hurt by bombs or slimes, I'm feeling pretty damn confident. Also, it's early on in the mines. I know it's on the dangerous level, but it's... sorry, dangerous setting. It's not really a problem, though, is it? I mean, look at them. They're not an issue. It's easy enough. Don't have to worry about it. Just murder everything. Work our way through. Get our stuff. And get on going. So we're after copper, mostly, while we're here. And iron as well. Because both of them are needed to turn into the refined furnace. I still want to have a few of the regular furnaces lying around. Because, again, they would be very handy. Because, of course, why wouldn't they be? I mean, I'm going to need the furnaces. I think they're phenomenally useful. But the needing of the basic ones, that's really the big quandary, potentially. But the reason I'm looking for them is just in case, as dumb as it sounds, I need it, then I'm kind of golden. And I know that sounds a bit bizarre as a sort of an oddity, but sometimes I might not have the 25 resources and I just quickly need a singular bar. So I feel that that's the most prudent option on this one. Again, though, I could be very, very incorrect. So we're still going to work our way through what we've got at the moment today, anyway. And the thing is, we're getting all this radioactive ore again. Now, the radioactive ore is kind of useful for a couple of other resources. I do kind of want it for a couple of the other available recipes. And I'm sure there's going to be a few other different ones that might need the radioactive ore as of the 1.6 expansion. Because that's the thing is, I've encountered a few things from 1.6. Like some of the new buildings. I've got the mastery wasn't a problem. I mean, that was pretty easy. But then again, that was also because of where I was in the game. It's not like I was struggling to do anything. So, I wonder, like, actually how quickly one could achieve. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you could achieve mastery before the end of year 3. That's, I mean, that's not a big thing, I don't think. I mean, I know I had to take a little while to get to where I am now, but that is partly because I was looking at all the other things that I wanted to achieve, and I wanted to try to achieve perfection by year 3, and I think that was a reasonable, not impossible challenge, and I know full well I should try a speedrun of something. Don't know if I can speedrun Stardew. It's a very different environment. I've looked at some Stardew speedrunning, and I was like, how are you doing that? What? It doesn't clock, and like it doesn't make sense to me, like how people have done stuff, and it's like, oh my goodness, that is. I think there's a lot more paperwork behind it, which is something that I'm not really wanting to do, in the same way, like, I don't want to have to rely on, like, the wikis and stuff. I mean, yes, I know I could very well do, and it was a personal choice not to use it. It's the same like I would, like, when I've played RimWorld, I've kind of stumbled through that and gone, I think this is how this works. I mean, there are some games, yes, where you kind of need to use a wiki, definitely, like, in honesty. It's just, genuinely would state that you kind of need it in Minecraft, especially like with how much it's changed since I last played it, which was, I'm not gonna lie, quite a long time ago. So I think I've might have exhausted my knowledge on that one, but that would be something I need to try and figure out and go, do I need this, that, the other, or Twitch? I don't know. Okay, so we're flattening our way through all of the enemies as we're rolling through here. I mean, there's quite a few of them. They're not super difficult, and of course we're blowing up all of these resources. Well, I say resources, or just blowing stuff up generally. And debating whether I want to grab anything as it sort of falls to the ground. Because I mean, gold bars might be useful. I don't need them for anything right now, and I've got plenty of them, I think, so I'm not super concerned about gold bars. That's a strange concept, isn't it? You go, I don't need gold, I'll be fine. I wish I could turn around and say that exact statement and be like, no, I don't need gold bars. Certainly wouldn't say no to a few of them myself right now, because that would mean money. Right, so let's blow up some more rocks. I mean, we're coming up to 11 o'clock, so we're coming up reasonably late. I don't want to stick out much later than 1 in the mines, I don't think. That would probably be about right, I think, when it comes to actually, like, how late I'm out and about. Otherwise, it'll get a little bit too late, and I'm running those risks of, well, falling by the wayside, as is commonly an occurrence. Especially for me, considering my general stupidity, and I will fall down going boom. As I think is probably the best way of describing it, because I've passed out enough times on the farm and being billed for it. Thankfully, I've passed out a few times in my own house, so I've not been as worried. But that is also something I have seen people doing, is deliberately moving the bed in their farmhouse. So I guess, is that something that you've done on your farm? Have you tried moving the bed closer to the door so that you don't have to go as far before you pass out of a night when you return home from whatever you're doing late at night? So yeah, give us a shout. Tell me what sort of weird and wonderful you've tried doing for that, because I've got you there's a bunch of odd things that people might have tried. And yeah, I might even try actually putting multiple beds in the house. I've not actually tried that. But one of the things I really kind of wish I'd remembered to do, though, so it might sound a bit harsh, but is to actually remove the crib. Because, like, having kids in Stardew doesn't really do much. I mean, it's funny having them wandering around with the silly hats on. But for me, it's not really the be-all and end-all. But anyway, for now, we're organising what we've gathered from the caves and the mine. When I say and the mine, just, you know, the mines. Let's see what we can organise. And, you know, it's nice that I've got this organised room. So I only need 3 more of the big furnaces. Oh, no, that's a shame. I was trying to see if you could smelt the not smelt, but, you know, refine down the Nautilus fossil as well as, I mean, because there's a lot of different things that can be. So, I think that is pretty much us getting up to the final part, so I shall bid everyone a fond farewell. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you do have any comments, please do like, share and subscribe, as I always do try to respond to comments that are left below. And big shout out, thanks go out to my Patreon supporters on Patreon, and hopefully I will catch you all again the next time the Walrus plays Stardew Valley.